Welcome to Rebuilding Kaiserslautern Season 4. And previously we started off in Bundesliga 2, got promoted, finished 10th in the Bundesliga, then last season finished 3rd, which means this season we've got our first ever trip into the Champions League. What will the draw be like? What players can we sign as we now aim over the course of this season and next season to put a squad together that can win the Bundesliga? Okay, welcome to the video, and as you can see, we've had a very busy and successful pre-season. Now, what we've done with pre-season, we have had games against a lot of rubbish teams, as you can see by the 6-1s and 5-1s that we've had here. But we have also played against a couple of teams that are of a level that we could be competing against in the Champions League. In Shakhtar Donetsk, which we won 2-1, and Fenerbahce, which we won 2-0. So, quite pleased with those results. As you can see, we've had a great start in the league. This here in the DFB Pokal, I mean, they're a non-league team before we get too excited, but a 10-0 win. And you're obviously going to see some names in there that you've not seen before. We'll get to those when we do the transfers very shortly. But Bochum away, Dortmund at home, and Mönchengladbach away. 2 wins and a draw for a start in the Bundesliga. Currently sitting in 4th position, 2 points off Bayern, who are top. Leipzig, as you can see, won it last season. Last season, we did finish 3rd in the table on 68 points, only 7 points away from actually winning the Bundesliga. I don't think we're actually that far off it, which is crazy to think of, considering this is only now going to be our 3rd season in the Bundesliga. In terms of dynamics, we've got good team cohesion, very good club atmosphere, and very good managerial support. Finances, we have 56.3 million in the bank. Only 71,000 left in the transfer budget. This transfer budget was around the 40 million mark when we actually went into the transfer window. So as you can see, we have spent some money, and we're going to get to that right now, well, in about 5 seconds time. And we still have 20,000 in a wage budget. We're under. We did have to move a little bit of this over into wage budget to give us more wage budget to spend. But altogether, I am very happy with the deals we've done this summer. Let's have a look at the transfer window. In terms of players going out, we're not sold a great deal, only £400,000. Dennis Thomas went to St. Pauli on a free transfer. He's just one of our youngsters that weren't ever going to be good enough to make it with us. Ivan Martinez, who was their backup goalkeeper at the time, has gone to Sevilla for £245,000. Mika Haas has gone on loan to FC Fredericia of Denmark. No idea who they were until then. Arman Osman, who's I believe another one of their youngsters. I think he's actually, he's one of their really good youngsters that I didn't really want to let go, but he was coming towards the end of his contract. And I just thought, you know what, we need to start making money off some of these players. He does have 4-star potential. He's a good signing for the future. They'll be quite happy with that, I would imagine. And Jan Bola has gone to Karlsruhe on loan for minimal £70,000 loan fee. He weren't getting much football with us, so yeah, he's gone out on loan. Now we get to the players we signed, and I think we signed some very good players. Right, we start with the first one, Dian Ramaj from Eintracht Frankfurt for £2.3 million. As you can see here, it says a first choice goalkeeper, and he is a very good goalkeeper. He's an excellent goalkeeper. We did have an offer come in for our actual number 1, Marcel Loretka, and I thought he was going to go. So, being prepared, I saw this guy available for 2.3 million. Loretka was going to be leaving for about 8 million, something like that. And so, yeah, bought him in 2.3 million. I thought, absolute bargain. And he's of a similar standard to what we've got at the moment. And then Loretka turned down the offer. I think it was from Norwich City. He turned down the offer of a move, and he stayed with us. So I've ended up with 2 first choice goalkeepers, which will no doubt cause me some problems during the season, but we'll deal with that as and when we get to it. But at least we do know that if Loretka gets injured, we have a top quality goalkeeper to take his place. Then we get to Paul Nabel in from Mainz for £11.25 million. Not our biggest sign of the summer, but still a big one. Ignore these arrows, they will start going up. Like I say, 11 million we bought him in. He already has a valuation of up to 25 million. He'll be playing here as an advanced playmaker. I'll get to that shortly in a moment. And yeah, he just looks really decent. Wherever you look at him, he looks quality. He did get 3 assists and a goal in the DFB Pokal 10-0 drubbing. He's already got 1 goal in 3 games in the Bundesliga as well from that midfield position. I'm looking for goals from him. As you know from last season, our main issue was we wasn't scoring goals. We were brilliant defensively, but we just weren't getting the goals going forward. So I wanted to improve us in that respect. We then brought in Rocco Reitz for 2.1 million from Borussia Mönchengladbach. He is a backup, basically. He's got some potential. He's got good quality about him. He's aggressive, he's brave, he's determined. His teamwork and work rate is off the charts. He's got great stamina. I think he's a really good, useful addition as a ball-winning, box-to-box midfielder type person in either the ball-winning midfielder in this role here or the box-to-box midfielder here. He's not really much of a deep-line playmaker, but he can do it if wanting to. He's an all-round utility man, really, and of pretty decent standard. Then we brought in Fabian Rees, who is a big money sign of the summer, £25 million. We brought him in for 28-year-old German, can play either side, right or left, could even do a little job down the middle or up front if we really wanted him to. 4 stars, valuation of £34 million. He just looks good. His natural fitness and his pace is fantastic. He's got pretty decent acceleration. He's determined, great work rate. He can even do long throws, which you might be able to take advantage of at some point in the season. He could put in a very decent cross as well. His dribbling's of a decent standard. He just looks really good. And so far in the Bundesliga, 2 goals and an assist from his first 3 games shows just how important he might be for us. Then we come to Evandro Borges Sanchez that came in from RB Leipzig for 7 million, rising to 8.5 million. Again, already a valuation of £37 million. He's a Luxembourger, 22 years old. He's got 48 caps and 9 goals for his country. As you see, he plays right or left, pretty much the same as Rees. 3-star kind of 4-star potential. His acceleration, his agility, his pace are fantastic. He's got flair. Lacks the teamwork and work rate of his teammates, but again, he's just a really decent player. Unfortunately, he has just picked up an injury as well. He played in the DFB Pokal, got 4 goals and an assist with a rating of 10, and then he picked up an injury, so he hasn't featured for us since. But he is back in 6 to 12 days' time. So that is our transfer business. The only thing I'll probably say is we haven't signed a striker to match the quality of Rees and Sanchez, which I'm a bit disappointed about. I would have wanted another striker, but we weren't able to sell players, and that's been a big hindrance for us this season. We was hoping to be able to raise more money through a few player sales, but the likes of Hanslik and Gribic and people like that, we've just not been able to get out the door. I've even put them on the unwanted list to sell at any price. We still can't get rid of them. So yeah, they're still here. They're hanging about. If we have a look at our first choice team, we have got more players again leaving this summer. The likes of John Simmer will be leaving. Hanslik and Grubic and people like that will also be leaving, I believe. But I'm really happy with this team. I think with the additions of Nabel in the midfield alongside Rashel, I think they're going to make an absolutely fantastic partnership. With Tomiak sitting at the back here, we've also got the likes of Rocco Reitz and Jeremy Dudziak that can come into these positions. Really happy with that. Then, like I said, we've got our wide men. We've got Rabbi Matondo as well, who has come in because of Sanchez's injury. And even with him, 3 appearances in the Bundesliga, 2 goals and an assist at 7.43. We've actually got some quality backup here as well. Not to mention the fact we've got Lucas Leibrock, who is one of our really promising young players as well. I'm really happy. It's the striker position I'm not as keen on. Stephen Aday, 3 appearances, 1 goal at 6.60 is not great. And obviously we have the likes of Daniel Hanslik, wherever he's gone now. Don't know where he is now. Where is it? Oh, here he is. Who's not even featured for us this season. Like I say, he's out of contract soon. Aaron Apoka as well is additional, very decent backup in this position here. So yeah, overall, I am very, very happy with the business we've been able to do. We have a look at our dev centre, have a look at the squad for our under-18s. We've got some really decent options here. I want to try and bring in Benjamin Hoyler as our defensive left-sided left-back, basically. 4.5-star potential. I want to try and give him a couple of games, maybe in the DFB Pokal or something. And Miroslav Iliev, something like that. Miroslav, with 4.5-star potential as well as a centre-back. 6'4", great jumping reach. I mean, look at that jumping reach. If he can improve his heading as well, keep his marking and tackling going up, he will be a great signing. He's Bulgarian. No doubt, in my eyes, he'll be a Bulgarian international. Now, I don't really think there's anything else to bring. Oh, yeah, Champions League. So, if we go to the schedule and have a look at the Champions League group stage draw. Oh, where are we going? We've actually got a really good draw in the Champions League. I'm really happy with this. So, we start off with Trabzonspor away from home and PSV away from home. Then we have Eintracht Frankfurt at home, Marseille away from home, Ludogorets at home, Lille at home, Barcelona away and Braga at home. Now, obviously, the standout one in there is a trip to the Nou Camp against Barcelona. I have no doubt we will lose that game. But the rest of them, I think they are absolutely winnable games. Trabzonspor, definitely. Eintracht Frankfurt, we know we can beat them. Ludogorets, Lille, Braga. PSV is going to be a tough one, as will Marseille, I'd imagine. But bearing in mind, if we look at the competition page, obviously the top 8 qualify automatically. I don't expect us to be in there. But I absolutely expect we can get minimum 24th and have a shot at a playoff place for a chance to then qualify for the round of 16. I think we've got a really decent draw in the Champions League. In the DFB Pokal, our next game is against Dynamo Dresden, who are of the 3 Liga. So we would be expected to beat them as well. If we go back to the schedule and try and put everything back in. There we go. Get rid of the pre-season friendlies because they're not important now. So yeah, our next game is against Augsburg in the league at home. Then we've got 2 away games in the Champions League. Not really sure why we're not playing in the league at this point, but 2 away games in the Champions League. If we can get, say, a win against Trabzonspor and a draw against PSV, then I think that sets us up in a really decent position. Then we get Leipzig and Bayer Leverkusen, really tough couple of games there. We play Eintracht Frankfurt twice in a row here before then playing Dynamo Dresden. We might put out a rotated team against Dynamo Dresden so that our first team is rested for the game against Bayern Munich. And then we finish the season with Nuremberg, Union Berlin, Freiburg, Wolfsburg, Stuttgart, Mainz and Werder Bremen. So that's where we are at the moment. I will see you in part 2 of the video, where we will come back just before the game against Augsburg. So we'll have played all of our Champions League games by that point, and we'll know whether or not we've qualified for at least the playoff stage of that. We'll know how well we're doing in the DFB Pokal, and obviously we'll have a very good idea of where we could be looking at finishing in the Bundesliga. As a minimum, I want top 4. We've got to finish top 4 again, and then that will give us next season to put a final push into winning the Bundesliga and completing our challenge as part of this rebuild. But yeah, let's move over to part 2 and let's see how we've done in the Champions League and where we are in the Bundesliga. And here we are at the just over halfway stage of the season, and things are going really well. It's been tough, I will say that. You'll see just how tough it's been when we go through the schedule in a moment. But Bundesliga-wise, we're second in the Bundesliga. We've only recently got to second. We're on 41 points. We're 7 points behind Bayern Munich, who are the league leaders. Freiburg are 4 points behind us, as are Wolfsburg and Bayer Leverkusen on 36. Dortmund on 35. It's still quite congested with Leipzig as well on 34. Frankfurt on 33. All quite congested. If we have a couple of bad results, which we're definitely capable of doing, then it's very easy for us to start slipping back down the table again. So we're not going to take anything for granted. But in terms of the Champions League, it's been fun, but it's also been really tough. We are in the knockout playoff round first leg. We play that in 15 days' time. We play 2 legs against Atletico Madrid. I don't fancy our chances, if I'm being completely truthful. But the fact we've got into this round in our first season in the Champions League, I think that's called success, in my opinion. The DFB Pokal, we are in the quarterfinals of that. We have, in my opinion, got the best. We've been drawn against the best team left in the competition in Borussia Dortmund, a team we've lost against twice in the league. So going by that, it would suggest the fact we're away as well, that we're probably going to lose and go out of the quarter-final stage. Wolfsburg are in there as well. They're fourth in the league as well. So you'd have to say that out of all of the teams left in the competition, Dortmund and Wolfsburg and ourselves will be the three favourites. One of them three teams, I imagine, would win this trophy. In terms of their performance in the Champions League, the fact that Colin Klein-Bakal, our centre-back, is our joint top goal scorer in the competition with 3 goals, I think that says quite a bit. Let's have a look at the Champions League, though. Let's have a look at the league phase so you can see how it all went. We finished in 19th with 3 wins, 3 draws and 2 defeats. The 3 games we won were at home to Braga, at home to Ludogorets and away against Trabzonspor. Games you'd absolutely expect us to win, I think. Then the 3 games we drew were at home to Lille, at home to Eintracht Frankfurt and away to PSV. Bit disappointed that we couldn't have got a win against Frankfurt and Lille. You know, if we'd won both of them games, that would have been another 4 points. Add on to their 16, we would have been in the mix for automatic qualification. Then the 2 games we lost, both away from home. Barcelona, we got spanked 3-0. We weren't even in that game. And we lost to Marseille 2-0, which are probably the 2 games I'd expect us to lose anyway. And when you consider that Vitina of Marseille is the top goal scorer in the Champions League with 12 goals, the fact that our top goal scorer is on 3, yeah, I think you can work it out yourself really from that. In terms of the DFB Pokal, if we have a look at, or we'll go to the schedule actually, rather than doing it this way. So if we go to the schedule, you know about these results in August because that was before the transfer window closed. So after those couple of games, we played Augsburg in the league, a 2-1 win in that game with Tomiak and Matondo getting the goals for us. They got a consolation in the 94th minute. Tomiak, by the way, is so frustrating because he's had 7 yellow cards and I think 2 red cards this season, and he's just constantly suspended at the moment. Then we played Trabzonspor in the Champions League, won 4-1, which, like I say, excellent performance. I mean, Memphis Depay plays for Trabzonspor. Tobias Rachel, Colin Klein-Bakal getting 2 of his 3 Champions League goals in this game, and Rabbi Matondo getting on the score sheet as well. Then we played PSV and drew 1-1. Then we lost to RB Leipzig 2-1. John Zimmer getting the goal for us. Benjamin Šeško on the score sheet for Leipzig. Then against Bayer Leverkusen, we lost 2-1. Stephen Ade getting on the score sheet in that game, but yeah, we lost in that. Then a 1-0 win against Köln. Around this area as well, from about the end of September to all the way through October, the injuries we were getting were horrendous. I mean, if we look at just injuries in games alone, Marco John got a red injury there. Then in the next game, there wasn't an injury. In the game against Bayer Leverkusen, there's a red injury to Tobias Rachel. Then in the 1-0 win against Köln, there was a red injury to Borges Sanchez before he even got to register a rating. That's how early in the game he went out injured. Then we played Heidenheim and won 2-1. 2 red injuries in this game, Matondo and Nebel. We did also have an own goal for them. Then against Eintracht Frankfurt, we drew 1-1. No injuries in this one. But then against Eintracht Frankfurt, that was in the Champions League, the previous one where we drew 1-1. Then we beat them in the league with a 1-0 win. No injuries in that one. Then we played Dynamo Dresden with a much rotated team, but 3 injuries, 3 orange injuries in this one. Philip Hirscher, our backup fullback. Benjamin Ola, who's like a 17, 18-year-old in our under-19s. We were having to use players like that, along with Miroslav Iliev, purely because of the injuries we were having. We just couldn't put out a full team. Jeremy Dudziak got an injury as well in that game. Then we played against FC Bayern and got hammered 2-0. John Zimmer getting sent off, an orange injury to Jan Alvedi, who strangely came on for him. Then, after the defeat against Bayern, we then got beaten by Marseille 2-0 in the Champions League. Then back into the Bundesliga again, a 2-0 win against Nuremberg. Boris Tomiak picking up an injury in this game. Bear in mind, these are only injuries in games. These are not including the ones that come up during the week as well. After the win against Nuremberg, we had a really good 4-1 win against Union Berlin. This was after an international break and we were getting players back again and whatever else. And it's amazing how good we can look when we have a full squad, which doesn't happen very often, I have to say. That's probably one of the only times it has happened. Then we went in the Champions League against Ludogorets, winning 2-0. A 1-1 win, a 1-1 draw against Freiburg followed in the Bundesliga. Then a 2-1 win. Daniel Hanslick actually getting a rare goal for us. Might actually be his only goal this season. If we have a look, yeah, it is the only goal for us in the DFB Pokal. So yeah, against Paderborn, again, a much more rotated side. Iliev getting a chance again, along with the likes of Schramm and Leader, just all of our backup players really. Then against Wolfsburg, we lost 3-1. That was a bit of a sore defeat, this one. It really was. That result hurt probably more than any of the others. Then a 2-2 draw against Lille. Borges Sanchez getting another injury. Then we played against VfB Stuttgart in the league with a 2-0 win. Nabel and O'Day with the goals in that game. Alverdi picking up another injury. Then we move into January, which is quite a busy month, given the fact we've got Champions League games as well. We picked up a 3-2 win against Werder Bremen, an absolute classic of a game. They went 1-0 up through Nicholas Füllkrug, who we've actually been linked with, even though he's 33 years old, coming up 34. Fabian Rees then made it 1-1 before they then went 2-1 up. And in the 54th minute, we made it 2-2. I was settled on a 2-2 draw, but then Colin Klein-Bacau getting a header from a corner in the 92nd minute. I loved that goal a lot. Then against Mainz, we won 3-0. Zimmer picking up an injury. Borussia Dortmund, we lost 2-1. Boris Tomiak getting sent off. Then against Barcelona, we just got beaten. Sometimes you just take your licks and you just move on. You know, we went to the Nou Camp, we got beaten, we left again, had a sleep at the hotel, and come back over their suitcases the next day. It was a very expected result. Then against VfL Bochum, we returned the favour, so to speak. It was 3-0 to us this time. Colin Klein-Bacau getting 2 more goals. Fabian Rees also on the score sheet. Then we played Braga and just about got a 1-0 win for most. Mendy scoring from a corner. Boris Tomiak getting sent off again. He came on as a substitute. Pretty much immediately got a yellow card, and then 10 minutes later got a red card. So, yeah, he's in my bad books. Then against Borussia Mönchengladbach, another 1-0 win with Fabian Rees getting on the score sheet again. If we have a look at our player stats, Stephen O'Day is a top goal scorer on 10 goals. Paul Nabel is our highest average rating, a new signing on 7.13. Fabian Rees, our new signing, has the most assists with 10. Foremost Mendy, best pass completion rate. Probably won't surprise you to know who has the most yellow cards and the most red cards, Mr. Tomiak. In terms of players in and players out, we've not bought anybody, but we have released somebody. I fell out with him. I'd had enough of him. Adrian Gribic has finally left the club. It only cost me, I think it was £35,000. He's now at Bonschwig. That's not the correct way to spell it, but they're in the 3 Liga, so he's found his home really. And he'll probably do quite well for them. You know, only sign him as a last resort. He came to me saying, I demand to have a new contract. I'm being underpaid, blah, 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 blah. The fact is, in the last year of his contract, I weren't going to be giving him a new contract, so I just said no. He weren't happy with it. I'm coming back. You ain't heard the last of this and all this sort of stuff. Then he did come back, to be fair, and complained that he's demanding more playing time. I basically just told him to go away. I then tried to do a mutual termination. Nothing, it didn't happen. It weren't mutually terminated. He then come back to me again, saying to me, I want to know why you've mutually terminated me. So I just released him on a free. It was the easiest thing to do. And now he's gone. Dynamics haven't been affected, as you can see. Team cohesion is very good. Club atmosphere is excellent. Managerial support is very good. We've had both our goalkeepers be unhappy. Obviously, we started with Marcel Lotka. I mean, this is my own doing, to be fair. But we started off with Marcel Lotka as our number 1 goalkeeper. Then Diant Ramaj, I think that's his name. Yeah, Diant Ramaj then came to me. He's unhappy. He wants to leave because he's not getting enough playing time. So I promised I'd play him. So I put him as our number 1 goalkeeper. He then was fine. Didn't want to be on the transfer list anymore. I took him off the transfer list. Now Marcel's come back to me. He's not happy. So now I'm playing him more often. And I'm just going to keep doing that. I'll just keep rotating between the two of them. When one's unhappy, I'll play them. When the other one gets unhappy, I'll play that one. They usually drop their unhappiness in time for the other one to get miserable. So, yeah. But like I say, that is my own fault. I didn't have to bring him in But for 2.3 million, I thought it was absolutely worth bringing him in. In the games that he's played, he's made 10 appearances for us. He's conceded 15 at 6.89. If we look at Marcel Lotka, he's played 21 games, 18 goals conceded, 7.10. So really, Marcel, I think, is our better goalkeeper. And to be fair, he is our better goalkeeper. Deandra Madra is just going to be his replacement, as you know. So we've had a look at dynamics. We've had a look... Oh, one thing I did want to show you, I was meant to show you in part one, but I didn't. With the tactic, I did make a slight change to the tactic, and that is that in the previous 3 seasons, we've had a deep line playmaker here on support. I've changed it to an attacking playmaker in order to try and get up the field a bit more and score some goals. If we have a look at the Bundesliga, have a look at it in its entirety, we've scored 36 goals in 20 games, which if we go back to last season where we scored 57 in 34, I think we're just about ahead. We are conceding a few more because of the fact that we are being a bit more attacking, I guess. But I think it's worked. But one thing I do need to do at the end of the season, during the summer, before the beginning of part 1 of season 5, our final season, I do need to get a quality striker, someone that can finish the opportunities, because Stephen Adair, to be fair to him, bless his heart, he is only a 2.5-star rated player, and he's just not good enough. He really isn't. He's got 11 in 34 there. He's got 11 in 22 there, 7 in 20 here. You know, that's what, 29 goals he scored for us in 76 appearances. It's fine if you're a backup striker, but it's not really good enough if you're the numero uno, so to speak. So that's pretty much all I need to bring you. We have, in terms of youth development, it's not actually going to show me, Mike. Oh, there you go. So they're recommending an excellent intake, A for strikers, B for fullbacks, C for attacking midfielders, wingers and wingbacks. So we'll see what comes through in the next part of the video, but also in the next part of the video, we will see, did we manage to get past Dortmund, who we're playing today, 2nd of February? Did we manage to get any further in the DFB Pokal? Did we get out of the knockout playoff round in the Champions League? And I'm going to say we're in a title race, but I don't think we're going to win the Bundesliga this season. Could we win the Bundesliga? No, not quite. I say not quite. We were a long way off, 12 points away from Bayern Munich. We did get 72 points, which is our best ever points haul in the Bundesliga, 4 more than what it was last season. But yeah, Bayern were runaway leaders. They only lost 2 games all season. We lost 8, which was clearly far too many. But what a fantastic season we've had in every which way, really. Like I say, 2nd in the Bundesliga, that's almost as good as winning it. Next, 3rd last season, 10th in our first season, 3rd last season, 2nd this season. Next season, destiny has got it in its hands that we are going to win the Bundesliga. We've got to be positive. It's our final chance next season as well. It is the 5th and final episode, the 5th and final season, in fact. And yeah, next season, it's win the Bundesliga or fail. Talking of winning things, we did win the DFB Pokal. We beat Schalke in the final. And we'll have a look at it in more detail when we do the end of season review. In the Champions League, we were knocked out in the round of 16 by Atletico Madrid. To be fair, it was pretty close. We didn't get battered or anything like that. But if we have a look at the schedule, where we were when you was last with us, which was just before we played Borussia Dortmund in the DFB Pokal quarter-final. 1-1 draw in that game. As you can see, we went out with a full team, but we did have Zimmer sent off on 29 minutes and then Alvedi sent off 6 minutes into extra time. We did win the penalty shootout though, and we progressed to the semi-final. To be fair, Borussia Dortmund were the only Bundesliga team we played in the entire competition. After that, we then went on and beat Augsburg 1-0, a Paul Nabel goal. Then we beat FC Köln at home 4-2 in the Bundesliga. Stephen Adair getting on the score sheet. It'd been quite a while, something like 13 hours or something without scoring. Tobias Rochelle and Colin Klein Beckel also getting on the score sheet. 3-0 up after, 30 minutes. Then they got 2 goals in added time, basically. Then we played Atletico Madrid in the Champions League. We won the first leg 2-1. I was well shocked by that. Stephen Ade really stepping up to the plate in that game. Then against Leipzig, I mean, Ade was on a run. He had 5 goals in 3 games, and then he just went on a bit of a run without scoring again. He'd done his bit. He didn't need to do any more. Tobias Rachel then getting the second goal, a 2-1 win. Benjamin Šeško scoring for Leipzig. And then we played Atletico Madrid in the return game, and they beat us 2-0 and knocked us out. We did have a goal a missed penalty from Paul Nabel, and that would have at least taken it to extra time. But yeah, Atletico Madrid are just the better team basically, and they beat us. Then we played Bayer Leverkusen in the league and lost 1-0. We had a bit of a dodgy run of games here. Then we had a 3-3 draw against Heidenheim, with Colin Bacall getting another 2 goals. He is quite the goal scorer from centre-back as well. If we quickly look at him, he's got 6 goals in the Bundesliga, 9 goals in all competitions. They've all come from corners. He is quite the beast when it comes to a header at the back post from a corner kick. Then Eintracht Frankfurt, we beat 4-0 again in the Bundesliga. A 3-1 defeat against Bayern Munich. Then we had a little run of wins. Nuremberg 2-1. Union Berlin 1-0. Rocco Reitz, whatever his name is, getting on the score sheet. Freiburg we beat 2-1. Then the DFB Pokal semi-final against Darmstadt 98. We beat them 4-1. Quite a comfortable win, really. They're in the 2 Bundesliga, I believe. Yeah, or Bundesliga 2. Then we beat... No, we didn't beat. We lost 3-2 against Wolfsburg. Quite disappointed with this defeat, actually. We should have beaten Wolfsburg. Then a 1-0 win against Stuttgart, followed by another 1-0 win against Mainz and a 2-0 win against Werder Bremen, before we then played Schalke in the final. And what a game it was. 2-0 up via So Stephen Ade got an injury in the lead up to this game, and he was going to miss the final. So Daniel Hanslik came in. He's only scored 1 goal so far this season. That was also in the DFB Pokal. So his second goal he scored was in the first minute of the DFB Pokal final. 1-0 in the first minute. Paul Nabel then put us 2-0 up on 13 minutes. But then we gave away a penalty, and Damian Pizarro on 36 minutes made it 2-1. We then made it 3-1, right at the start of the second half. Fabian Rees with the goal, before they then pulled it back to 3-2 in the 76th minute to set up quite the nervy finish to the game. But we did end up winning, and we did end up lifting the DFB Pokal. We've already shown you what we've done in the Champions League and the DFB Pokal and the Bundesliga and all that sort of stuff. In terms of dynamics, team cohesion is excellent, club atmosphere is excellent, managerial support is very good. I am also on a brand new contract. £20,000 a week, expires in 2 more years' time. No clauses or anything like that. But I'll take a £20,000 a week contract. That is very nice. We'll go through all of this when we get to the end of season review. But obviously, with next season being our final season, we know we've got several players going out of contract. If we have a look at the expiry date, we've got from Jeremy Dudziak all the way down to Jean Simmer. All of their contracts are expiring. They will all be leaving the club. And it gives us room to bring in some more players. It frees up some space in their squad, all that sort of stuff. I would love it if Daniel Hanslik was going, but unfortunately he's not. We will try and get a shot of him, but it looks like we're going to be stuck with him till the end of our time here. But there's a lot of transfer business that will need to be done in the summer, because we obviously need to elevate ourselves to that next level. We want to do better in the Champions League. We want to at least get into the actual round of 16 or beyond. And obviously, we need to be trying to win the Bundesliga next season. We don't want to fail our mission. So it's all or nothing next season. As a result of that, we are going to need a decent budget. And the board have set the budgets. And we've been given £69.5 million to spend in the transfer window. Our wage budget, we've currently got 50,000 left in the wage budget. That's not increased a great deal. It's only increased by about 50,000. But once we've had players leave, obviously that will free up some more money in there as well. Plus we can put some transfer budget into our wage budget. I'll also be looking potentially at seeing who we can get in on loan as well from other clubs around Europe. So we've got a decent budget, a fairly decent wage budget. let's have a look at our set pieces as well. Let's have a look at how we've been doing set piece wise, because as I showed you in the last episode for season 3, we do very well at set pieces, and I'm inclined to thinking, there you go, goals from corners. We are 3 clear of Bayern, Wolfsburg and Leipzig on that. 13 goals from corners. In terms of indirect free kicks, we're joint second, 4 goals from indirect free kicks. I doubt we've scored any direct one. Oh, we have actually scored one. I've obviously forgot it, but we have scored one goal from a direct free kick, beg your pardon. So yeah, set pieces, we remain very, very good at them. And the main reason for that really is because of this guy here, Colin Klein-Bacau. 6'3", he's got good heading, excellent jumping reach, and he's scored 9 goals for us this season. He has been really, really good. A standout defender by a mile. One other thing I do want to show you actually is in a dev centre, our youth intake we've had come in. It's not been a particularly good youth intake, but we've had some decent talent come in. The one I'm most excited about though, I think this is the guy here, Maximilian Walter. Let's have a look. No, that's not the one. I mean, he's okay. Must be this one. I know he's a centre back, put it that way. Andreas Haag, 15 years old. He is 6'7". I mean, I've seen people 6'6" in FM before. I've never seen anybody 6'7". Now, what I do want to say, I mean, he's unambitious, which is a shame, even though he's got 13 for determination. What I often find here is, bear in mind, he's 15 years old. So at the age of 15, you still got a few more years to grow and develop and whatever else. You know, you're still a child at 15. You ain't a man yet. But I can guarantee you, by the time he gets to 21, 22, 23, whatever, he will still be 6'7", 12 stone, 3 pounds. Which to me is, I know it's not a big thing, but if you want to have added realism in the game, then really you'd like to see maybe 6'5", and over the course of the next 3 years he grows to 6'7", you know, something like that. But I've got to say, 6'7" at the age of 15, he's a giant. He is an absolute. He is definitely a giant. I'm telling you, 6'7" does constitute giant status. Right, I think that's enough of me waffling about giants and whatever else. Let's get to the end of season review and see how our season went. So before we get to the actual end of season review, we just do this little bit here. So this is a supporters profile. Our hardcore audience has gone down to 11%. Our core is down to 39%. Fair weather has gone up by 17% and casual up to 13%. You kind of find that happens as you become successful. Our supporters' influence on the board remains high. We've got 1.3 million followers on social media. That's gone up by 455,000. I love the fact they give you the Steam symbol for social media rather than X or Facebook or Instagram or whatever. Season ticket holders stay the same, still 30,000 on there. If we have a look at our club vision and expectations meeting, I mean, they're delighted with everything, and so they should be, because I'm fantastic. And yeah, we'll just accept that. There's no reason not to. Squad dynamics, we know what that's like. We've already shown that. Gene Zimmer, I'm not sure if he's one of the players that's going to be leaving. Yes, he is. So we will be losing one of our team leaders in the summer. So presumably someone from here will step up. Hopefully it's not him, because I want him to leave. But end of season team... Oh, hang on, we need to go back here again. So what they want from us is to reach the UEFA Champions League proper. So they are increasing their expectations, which is good to see. So plans for next season for the Bundesliga. We're going to qualify for the UEFA Europa League. Hey? No, I want Champions League. Is it not allowing me to say that? We'll say Europa League then. They're satisfied with that? No, oh God, no, I didn't want to make promises. There you go. Can we just get out of here, please? Please? Oh my word, what are we doing? Right. Yes, let's leave. Thankfully, everyone's still happy. Oh, I've made a right pig's ear of that, or very nearly made a pig's ear of that. Right, that's the injury report. It is what it is. Injuries are injuries, really, aren't they? If we actually have a look in the medical centre, we can see that our peak for injuries, for some reason, was October. Last year, it was in January. other than really this pretty much the first part of the season was the worst, and then it was actually kind of okay and manageable after that. Let's go back to our inbox. Our training camp destination, I think we do better than Switzerland. Where are we going to go? We don't want to go. I mean, it's given us a lot of places in Austria to go to, isn't it? Should we just go to somewhere in Germany? Well, we'll go to Italy. I don't know where Trentino Alto Adige in Italy is, but we're going there for pre-season. And yeah, we'll now go to the end of season report. Here we go then, folks. End of season review, not report. We've got a little trophy. It's the second trophy we've won with Kaiserslautern, of course, because we did win the Bundesliga too, but this is their first major trophy. I'm pretty certain the DFB Pokal is considered a major trophy in Germany. It is their only cup competition after all. So let's get into the new arrivals. Paul Nobel has been given the award as signing of the season. 11.25 million from Mainz, 44 appearances, 13 goals, 7 assists from midfield. He has been fantastic, I have to admit. Then we've got Fabian Rees, 25 million from AZ Alkmaar, 45 appearances, 10 goals, 13 assists at 7.06 on the left-hand side for us. Again, he's been fantastic. I've been so happy with him. Evandro Borges Sanchez, I have been happy with him as well. He's not been as efficient with his assists as what Rees has, but he has got the same amount of goals. It was only £8.5 million from RB Leipzig. 6.92 I think is a bit unfair on him, but 37 appearances, 15 goal contributions. He's been decent. We could probably do better, but he has been decent. Diant Ramage was a bit of a mistake of a signing. 2.3 million. He's played 10 times for us. 6.89, fine. And Rocco Rees, I'll tell you what, to be fair, this guy, I would probably class him as my underdog signing of the season because he came in purely as a backup player, only 2.1 million from Borussia Mönchengladbach. He's made 49 appearances as a backup player. 35 of those have been starts. More appearances than any of these. 3 goals, 2 assists from a midfield stroke defensive midfield position at 6.85. I love his signing. The board are not overly impressed with it, but I actually think he's been very, very decent. In terms of the transfers out, Gribic, as I said, we let him go on a free transfer. He's got 6 goals and 3 assists in 12 appearances of Braunschweig. They're in the 3 Bundesliga, I think it is, or 3 league, whatever. And 7.22, he's found his footing, basically. Marlon Ritter went to SV Meppen, again on a free transfer. He's been fine. Clement, he left. He's been okay. Ivan Martinez went for a fee, £245,000 to Sevilla. He's made 1 start, 2 substitute appearances at 6.45. Nice to see that's not gone particularly well for him. Lars Christoph left for 240,000. Not played. This guy's not played either. I don't think any of the others have played, to be fair. So, yeah, I don't think we've really missed them, to be quite honest. In terms of the season's results, the Bundesliga, 34 games played, 23 wins, 3 draws, 8 defeats, a goal difference of plus 26, 72 points. We had 68 last season, so we've improved our points tally for the season. We finished second. 96% of our ground was filled. And Stephen Aday with 15 goals was their top goal scorer, and the board are very happy. In terms of the Champions League, I mean, it was hit and miss. It was up and down. Ultimately, we weren't good enough to get past Real Madrid, but we only narrowly got eliminated 3-2 on aggregate. So I don't mind that. Knocked out in the knockout playoff round. In the DFB Pokal, I mean, I'm still struggling to understand how we've had such an easy run through this tournament. Optic Rafnau that we beat 10-0 in the first round. Dynamo Dresden that we beat 1-1 in the second round. Rafnau were non-league. Dynamo Dresden were in the 3rd league, I believe. Paderborn, I believe, were in the 2 league. Yeah, they're in Bundesliga 2. Oh, where are we? Dortmund are obviously in the Bundesliga. Darmstadt are in the Bundesliga 2. And Schalke are in the Bundesliga 2. The only clean sheet we kept in the DFB Pokal was against this non-league team here. But, yeah, it took a bit of extra time and penalties to get past a couple of them. But we lifted the trophy, our first major trophy with Kaiserslautern. In terms of the biggest win, obviously it's a 10-0 one. Our match to remember was a 4-0 win against Eintracht Frankfurt in the Bundesliga. And goal of the season went to John Zimmer, a top draw goal from Die Rotten-Tufel right wing back Zimmer as he hits a fierce effort from 20 metres out. Well done to him. In terms of this, we've gone up in our reputation. We were national, we're now continental. No new sponsorship deals. Our sponsorship has gone up by about £1 million. We actually do have broadcast revenue, which is 4.79 million, which all I can assume must be the Champions League, but still seems a bit low considering it's the Champions League. I did actually look up online about TV revenue money in the Bundesliga, and it says that every club in the Bundesliga gets something like 22, 23 million pounds each. It's spread out evenly over them. So I don't know why it's not reflected in here, though. I don't know if it comes under prize money or what it is, but it's very peculiar. Corporate and hospitality has gone up by a fraction. Competition prize money up by like 50 million. I mean, 75.68 last season's 120 million. A lot of that is going to be because of the Champions League. Matchday commercial and retail gone up slightly as well. In terms of merchandise sales, 5.49 million in merchandise sales, and we've sold 32,500 shirts. Sanchez, Reece, Matondo, Nebel and Rashel selling the majority of the shirts. Obviously, Sanchez, Reece and Nebel, players that we've bought in this season. So they've helped us sell a few shirts. In terms of our overall best 11, let's see if I agree with it. Lotka in goal, John at left back, Zimmer at right back, Mendy and Klein-Bakal in the middle. Reitz in the defensive midfield. Well, I'm not sure if I would agree with that. I'd probably have Boris Tomiak in there. But after his spate of red cards, I did go with Reitz a lot more. Rashel and Nebel in front of him. Reece and Sanchez out wide with O'Day up top. Yeah, I think that looks pretty right, to be fair. Reece, as you see, 13 assists, 10 goals. O'Day getting 23 goals. That is in all competitions. That's not overall. But 23 goals in all competitions from 48 appearances. He's not had a bad season. I do give him a bit of jip, but overall he's not been too bad. I don't know why it always says wing play there either. In terms of the accolades, most assists by a player in a season. This is the records. Fabian Reece with the most assists now. Most player of the match awards in a season. Rabbi Matondo with 6. And to be fair, he's not been a first team regular, Rabbi Matondo, but he's actually managed to win most player of the match awards. Highest transfer fee paid was Fabian Reece, 25 million. In terms of the player awards, fans player of the season is Paul Nobel. The young player of the season is Paul Nobel. Signing of the season, Paul Nobel. Goal of the season, John Zimmer. Top goal scorer, Stephen O'Day, like I say, 23 goals. Most assists, John Zimmer with 13 assists. I mean, that's a bit confusing because he's got 13 assists, as has Fabian Reece. And Fabian Reece has got the record. He must have got to 13 first. Where are we? We got John Zimmer. Yeah, there we go. So most player of the match awards was Rabbi Matondo with 6, as we know. Highest average rating was Paul Nobel on 7.2. And most passes completed per 90 minutes was Colin Klein-Bakal with 68. History in the making. Our DFB Pokal win there. Kaiserslautern looked sharp right out of the gate. Few would have expected this outcome, but they gave themselves a chance and have reaped the rewards. From Silas Feibig of Sport Buzzer. Never heard of it, don't know if it's real or not. Manager timeline is what the manager timeline is. That's our season review, we've already done it. And the collective bonuses have been paid out for finishing runners-up in the Bundesliga. And that brings us to an end of season 4. Like I say, next season is going to be the final season. Can we win the Bundesliga? Can we do better in the Champions League? Can we even retain the DFB Pokal? What players are we going to sign? What players are we going to let go? The only way to find out is to turn up right here, 2 o'clock next Sunday for the final instalment of Rebuilding FC Kaiserslautern. Thank you very much for watching, folks. Please leave a like on the video. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next week. Thank you very much. Bye.